Hi guys, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. I'm here with the preview for the game against Brighton on Saturday night, live on the telly. This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball will have all the latest on this week's Premier League's matches, including Liverpool's game against Huddersfield on Friday night and Manchester City's game against Burnley. The title race going right down to the wire. All the information you need will be on the OneFootball app this weekend. Newcastle travel all the way down to the bottom of the country, to Brighton. I think it's pretty much on par with Southampton, and Bournemouth is the longest trip of the season. Talking about Southampton, Newcastle come from that victory, 3-1. We're going to hear from Chris right now, and he'll tell you about what he thought of the game, and maybe a little bit about that man, Jose Perez.
Fantastic result. What can you say? These players, especially Perez and Hayden, after the turn of the year, and it seems like this is a bit of a common denominator with us. We start slow in the league and we're just building on the afterburners and build up the season. We get a system that can work for us, and this Rafa's put it in place, and this 5 at the back system's worked for the last 6 months. So what can you say about Perez? I mean, his value is probably doubled or tripled after those games, busting his ass to get into the penalty area. Hayden winning every challenge in the middle of the park. I agree with, Key was down in his game today, so I don't know what that situation is going on with Shelvey. I think Shelvey should have came in, but yeah, so many questions and question marks over next season now, with Hayden wanting away and probably Perez maybe looking around and not signing Rondon permanently. It's going to be really interesting, and obviously Rafa and Longstaff coming back, and it's going to be a crazy summer. But yeah, super happy. I mean, yeah, it's difficult getting up to watch these bloody games when you're out here. It was 2:30 in the morning, but yeah, you definitely get up when you know you've got a chance, and their form's been very good the last few weeks, so it's been fantastic to watch. Just play to the system, but yeah, we need to kick on, don't we? We need, as Rafa says, better quality players. I'm sure he does want to play this system all the time. We need to push on now. Who knows where we could finish, maybe even 10th. But yeah, that's sort of my summation of the whole season, and looking forward to the summer. Hopefully I can call in, or my dad can call into the radio show on Monday night. We'll have a bit of a yarn.
So we're back. That was Chris's thoughts. It's Brighton versus Newcastle this weekend. For me, this is a massive, massive game for Brighton. For us, we're not on the... Well, we're going down towards Brighton. They've got a lovely beach, but hopefully Newcastle haven't taken their flip-flops and they've actually taken their football boots this weekend, because, we want to try and finish this season well. We've got, I think, 2 out of 3 are winnable games. I think the Liverpool game's going to be very, very difficult. But this Brighton game's huge for both. Huge for Brighton in particular, because between them and Cardiff, to see who stays in the Premier League this season. Let's just touch about Sung-Yueng quickly. For me, one of the better managers I've seen at Newcastle, and we've had the likes of Joe Kinnear, John Carver. We've had some dross at Newcastle, and I think Sung-Yueng, he's a fan favourite. Every time he comes back to Newcastle, he gets a lovely warm welcome, and he did a fantastic job under difficult circumstances at his time at the club. And obviously, you see him at Brighton. I think he's done a fantastic job at Brighton. He took them over in the bottom half of the Championship. Almost got them up in the first full season, just lost out at Middlesbrough. And then the season after, it was between ourselves and Brighton to see who would be the champions, because in the Championship, because they were absolutely brilliant. But Sung-Yueng, for me, he's a fantastic manager, and I hope he continues to do well with Brighton. And I'm sure he'll get given a chance. Brighton are a good club, and I think they like to give their managers a chance. And if he manages to keep them up, it'll be brilliant. And for him, he'll keep his CV, his managerial CV, into a massive high. In terms of Brighton, they've just lost 1-0 to Spurs yesterday. This is getting filmed on Wednesday, and for me, they've got a tail run of form, but this is the game that they'll be looking at. They've got 3 games left. They've got Newcastle at home, Arsenal away next weekend, and then the final day, they might be taking on the champions, Manchester City. They might be champions, they might not be champions, depends how Liverpool get on as well. But that's 3 difficult games if you're Brighton, but they'll be looking at this game going, at home, Newcastle have nothing to play for. Can we get the job done? And I think that can actually help Newcastle, for me, because, we can play on the counter-attack. We can let Brighton have a lot of the ball. We can make it really, really difficult for Brighton. I think the likes of Jamal Lascelles might have an important part in this game. I think the defence in particular, you know, our defence is pretty good. It's hard to say that as a Newcastle fan, but our defence is pretty good. Likes of Paul Dummett, Jamal Lascelles. It's going to probably be Federico Fernandez. Paul's going to be doing a 1 to 11. He'll go through his 1 to 11. You know, I think the defence, if the defence is as good as it normally has been, I think Brighton will struggle to get clear-cut chances, and we've got a good keeper in Dubravka as well. For Newcastle, obviously, we're going to miss Almiron. The club have confirmed he's out for the rest of the season, which is no surprise. You know, who comes in? There's obviously the likes of maybe Atsu knocking on the door. Does Kennedy come back in? You know, how do we play that? Do we play a different formation? Do maybe go 4-4-2 and just maybe go Perez behind Rondon? Have to go out and try and attack as well. You know, try and go for it, because, you know, Brighton defensively have been all over the place. Lost 5-0 to Bournemouth. They've just lost to Spurs. You know, these are like a wounded animal, and we need to try and make sure that they stay wounded. And for me, Newcastle can go there with just relax, really. You know, try and see if we can nick a goal, make it really edgy, really nervy, and let's see if we can get another 3 points. You know, I think 10th is probably just a little bit out of our reach. I think we're 2 points behind West Ham, who are in 11th. You know, West Ham haven't got anything to play for. They've been on the beach the last few games, and they've got, I think, Tottenham away, which is going to be difficult for them. So this is a fantastic opportunity for Newcastle to really, you know, try and finish the season well and get into, say, 11th place. And, you know, if you're Rafa Benitez, 10th and 11th without any backing, you know, it's almost incredible, really, what he's done for Newcastle. But it is going to be difficult. I think the main player that you'd have to watch out for Brighton, I think obviously Glenn Murray's got a good goal scoring record. I think he's one of Brighton's all-time top goal scorers, so we've got to try and keep him quiet. But they've got the likes of Locadia, Dale Stevens in the midfield, so it's a threat. Pascal Gross, you know, they've got some good players. But obviously defensively is where we've got to target them. And, you know, Shane Duffy and Lewis Duncan centre-half are normally a good pairing, but they haven't been at the minute. So we need to try and see if Rondon can have a little bit of battle with one of them too going forward. But it's a game that Newcastle can win. Can I see them getting all 3 points? Depends on the first half an hour for me. Would I take a draw? Yeah, probably would. But it is what it is with Newcastle. Last few games, obviously the Liverpool game is going to be massive for all sorts of reasons. Obviously Man United play Man City tonight as this is getting filmed, so that could be massive for Newcastle. But my prediction is going to be Brighton 1, Newcastle 1. I think Newcastle will take the lead. Brighton might get one back, but I think we'll do enough to get at least a point at the Amex on Saturday. We'll not be at the game this weekend, unfortunately. I think it's only one of the few we've missed this season, but you know, a long way down the coast, and you know, we've done quite a few away games. I think Fulham's probably, someone's going to be going down for Fulham, so you know, we'll try and get some reaction on Saturday with either myself or Lee or the few of the other guys. But yeah, get your comments in below. How do you think this game will pan out? Do you agree with Chris from last week? And can you see Newcastle finishing any higher than 13th or 12th? I think obviously we're a point behind Palace and 2 behind West Ham. Can we finish above them? Get your predictions in, like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV.